Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal. Back with another live show as always, to talk about the latest transfers. We'll be talking about Trossard, Eze, and a couple of others. The news today has been very slow. Obviously, the Premier League is getting started tomorrow. Our game is going to be on Sunday, so this particular week things will definitely slow down and start focusing on the Man United game. We already did a preview for that, so make sure to check it out. It was out yesterday, what my lineup would be and everything. But in this one, let's catch up with the transfers. Let's start with Leandro Trossard. Every single day it's looking more likely that Trossard is not going to be an Arsenal player next or this upcoming season. And today he's been linked to the move to Aston Villa. According to reports, Aston Villa have made early stage inquiries on Leandro Trossard. Just a few hours ago, they made contact with Arsenal. So this is yet another team that is interested in getting Trossard. I think over the last 1 week, like since last Thursday, there's been like 7 or 8 teams who've inquired about Trossard. At first, we had that, Dortmund could make a bid for him. And then we had, Crystal Palace might want a swap deal earlier before that. And then we had... I think it was Napoli and Lazio that also want him. And then we were told that up to 3 or 4 Premier League teams would like to sign Leandro Trossard. And now we are also hearing about Aston Villa being interested in getting Trossard. Now, this makes sense because Aston Villa have just let go of Jacob Ramsey, I think, to Newcastle. Bailey is being linked to the move away. Rashford left. Asensio went back to his team. So they do kind of have a problem. I think they signed someone else from France the other day, but they do have a gap there. So a player like Trossard would probably fit there, especially on the left side. You definitely go there and help them. But it all depends on how much, Aston Villa offering Trossard. Is it better for him to stay at Arsenal from his own individual point of view? And for us, how much money would Aston Villa want to pay for Trossard? So when we bought Trossard January of 2023, we signed him for £20 million plus 7 million in add-ons. Now, I don't know if those 7 million in add-ons, those add-ons were ever achieved. Probably, if it's in terms of goals and how many games it's played. Last season, he literally got the record of the most appearances in a season for Arsenal last season. I think he tied Lee Dixon and someone else. Last season, Trossard played a lot. So if it's in terms of appearances, I'm sure he ended up paying them those add-ons, unless one of those add-ons was like winning the Premier League. Then you haven't really got into that. But Aston Villa now want him. Will they be willing to pay us that 20 million that Arsenal want? Can we get that money back at least? Trossard is now he's 30 years of age, still has like 3 years, I'd say, at the top. He's still a good finisher. Maybe the pace will go down as days go by, but in terms of Premier League experience, he has it. In terms of coming from Arsenal as well, he has it. That experience of competing for league titles and competing in the Champions League and all of that. He's gone through all of that. So Aston Villa, for me, would want more than 20 million. I still say I wouldn't sell Trossard. I'm still going to say that every day. I'm not going to sell Trossard, especially if you're not going to get a replacement. It doesn't make sense to me. I know the club are in a position where they have to let him go because he has 1 year remaining on his contract. And obviously, we don't want to lose him on a free this time round. And in January, it's free to start talking to any team to, leave on a free. It would be better to, we always cry about not getting any money for sales. So if you're going to sell him, it has to be now, unless you give him a 1 year contract and he signs. And we were told there's a contract already on the table, but Trossard wasn't really too keen on it because he's looking at other offers. He's on, I always keep on forgetting. I think it's 110K? I'm confusing with some. I think it's like 90K. These contracts are always so hard. You always see me checking this every time. I always forget. I think it's 90 or 110, one of those. Let me just confirm. So Trossard is not like being paid a lot of money at Arsenal. Let me see. 90, got it. So Trossard is on 90,000 per week. So, I mean, can he get a better contract than that, like higher than that, 90K per week? I doubt he's not going to get anywhere near 90 plus 90K per week, especially if he's going to these teams that are being linked to him right now, the Aston Villas, the Crystal Palaces, and Napoli and Lazio's, all these teams. He's not going to get more than 100K per week. So that is the most he's going to get. And it's at Arsenal, 90K for the next 1 year. But unless Arsenal want to give him a new contract and he decides to sign it, unless he gets a better offer somewhere else, then it's potentially going to move on. But we were also told that Arsenal are not really pushing him out. That's what we were told like 2 weeks ago, that Arsenal not really pushing Trossard out. They're happy to keep him if he's happy to stay. But now every single day it's looking very likely that Trossard is going to leave. Now Aston Villa want him. He's injured anyway, so he's not going to be part of that squad against Man United this weekend. He is an option for me on the left side with Martinelli and Madueke on that left, but he's injured now and he's been linked to the move away. So maybe we've already seen the last game of Trossard in an Arsenal shirt, maybe. So Aston Villa, let's see how much money they'll offer us. Let's see if we can get more teams involved. As of now, I've had 6 or 7 teams from Germany, from Italy, and 3 from England now that want Leandro Trossard. So let's see if any other team comes in for him and if he's actually going to leave after 2 full seasons and a half seasons. So 2.5 seasons at Arsenal. Let's see how it goes. For me, I still don't think it's a good idea letting him go and not signing a replacement. I think that would be absolutely crazy, especially also if you consider fitness. We've been talking about injuries last season when everyone else was injured. Saka, Havertz, Odegaard, Calafiori, Gabriel, Saliba, Timber, everyone was injured last season. Trossard played more than 50 games last season. He literally equaled the record, an Arsenal record, in terms of appearances in all competitions in one season. He was fit almost the entire season, Trossard. So if a player can do that the entire season and stay fit and come on as a sub and play in the Carabao Cup, play in the FA Cup, play in the Premier League, play in the Champions League, this is one player. We don't have too many players like this. Obviously, when you come to the Carabao Cup and competitions like that, we usually want Saka to be rested. We usually want Saliba to be rested. When you come to the Champions League, maybe you feel like, maybe Zinchenko cannot play this one, but it's okay to play him in the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup. Same with all the other players, apart from Trossard. Trossard is one of those players at Arsenal that if he plays for us in the Champions League, if he starts a Champions League game against Bayern Munich, we are fine with that. If he starts a Carabao Cup game against Stevenage, we are fine with that. If he starts an FA Cup game away to Bolton, we are fine with that. Like, he's one player that, whichever game that he plays, whichever competition against whichever team, we are okay with it because, he can deliver in all of those competitions, and also we feel like his fitness is okay. He can play in that one and get subbed off. He can come on in this one and play the last 30 minutes. So let's see. For me, I don't think it's a good idea letting him go without finding a replacement, but there's several teams that want him now. Now let's talk about Eberechi Eze. According to Ben Jacobs, Tottenham are set to make a bid for Eberechi Eze. Yesterday we were told that Tottenham are willing to pay somewhere around 53, 54 million, or between 50 and 54 million. Now, obviously, we know Crystal Palace wants 68 million, so it's going to be very interesting to see whether they're going to get to that 68 million that Crystal Palace wants. TalkSport understands Eze is open to the move and wants to both play Champions League football and ideally stay in England and in London. So again, this is where Arsenal and Tottenham both would be good fits for him, because he wants to play Champions League football and he wants to stay in London. That is a very easy move for him. Arsenal also hold an interest in Eze, and the late window move cannot be discounted. So again, nothing really has changed from yesterday. I still expect Crystal Palace to listen to offers from both Arsenal and Tottenham. I'm expecting Tottenham to make a bid for Eze. Obviously, they don't have Maddison now. They don't have Son now. Tottenham yesterday, if you watch the game against PSG, it's funny. They're using the long throws and tactics that they were slating us for, using corners and all that. But anyway, the way they were playing yesterday, there's still a gap there in terms of the midfield. They were playing like Sa in a number 10 position. They do have a position there for Eze to play. Like, if Eze joined Tottenham today, he would start tomorrow. Like, there's a spot for him there. At Arsenal, as we said yesterday, it's not that obvious. Like, if you're playing Man United this weekend, there's no guarantee like Eze would start, because I'm sure Odegaard would still start, and I'm sure Rice and Zubimendi would start. So it would be either Eze or Martinelli on the left side, and I still think Martinelli would play. So there would not be like that guarantee that Eze would 100% start for Arsenal, unless it's like some specific game. So I still say the same thing I said yesterday. He would play more at Tottenham than at Arsenal. But it depends on him himself. Does he prefer a move to Arsenal? How are the wages? We don't know anything about the wages so far. Arsenal or Tottenham offering him more wages? As he talk to Arteta, as he talk to Andrea Bat, as he talk to Daniel Levy at Tottenham. Game time is very, very important to him. He wants a place where he's going to start every single game. He says he wants Champions League. Both teams are in the Champions League. If he wants to London, both teams are in London. It's a tough decision. So again, just like when you talked about Gyokeres and Mosquera, this is not the same. Gyokeres only wanted to join Arsenal. Mosquera only wanted to join Arsenal. Eze doesn't only want to join Arsenal. Arsenal is an option for him. If Arsenal make an offer, I'm ready to go there. But if Tottenham also make an offer, I'm ready to go there. So for this one, it's very different. Remember, the one for Gyokeres, I was like, I'm 100% he's going to join Arsenal because he's already said he really wants to join Arsenal. They're giving up their own money. He's 100% going to join Arsenal. For Eze, it's not a guarantee. So if Arsenal go quiet and we still get him, it means we already knew that, we are going to get the player. We've already discussed with the player. We weren't too worried about Tottenham. And anyway, Tottenham are not going to get to that 68 million that Crystal Palace wants as well, unless something changes over the next 1 week. So themselves, they want to offer like 50 million or something. I don't know if it's upfront, but Arsenal wanted to offer 30 million upfront and then the rest in installments. So in terms of that, Tottenham have a better deal. But let's see what happens with Eze. We just have to wait and see, because we've been told that Teta wants 2 more attacking players, a wing and attacking midfielder. We've had that from Ben Jacobs, from Sammy Mokbel. We've also been told by Fabrizio that, we are still pushing for Eze, and Ben Jacobs in this one still says Arsenal could make a late move for Eze. So yeah, it depends on all of those things. It's not an easy deal to do as well. It depends on all of those things. Where he wants to play, where he thinks he's going to get more game time. Does he just prefer Arsenal because he was at Arsenal as well? Does that actually help us in this situation? All of that, wages, where is he going to get paid better? So let's wait and see, man. But Tottenham are set to make a bid. Let's see how much they're going to bid for him. But he also says Arsenal also hold an interest in Eze, and a late window move cannot be discounted. That's according to Ben Jacobs. So literally, those are all the updates we have today. No other news, but let's go through what Ben Jacobs had to say about Nwaneri. The desire to give Ethan Nwaneri minutes at number 10 this season has led to some hesitation within Arsenal as to whether to add another central attacker. They could look to bring in another left winger instead of Leandro, Trossard or Gabriel Martinelli. So anyway, that is also transfer news. But yeah, we are basically being told by Ben Jacobs as well, Arsenal could look to bring in another left winger instead of Trossard or Martinelli. So it's looking like Trossard is going to leave, and apparently we're still going to look for a left winger. So we've already been told Leao is going to stay at AC Milan. We know it's not going to be Nico Williams. Is going to stay at Bilbao. I don't think it's going to be Anthony Gordon. It's not easy to work with Newcastle, especially now the season is starting. I think it's high time we start forgetting about Anthony Gordon as well, for those who wanted Anthony Gordon. So which other options are there? I don't see any other option that we've been linked to. I mean, unless we go for someone totally different, because the players that I was also looking at the beginning of the transfer window, players like Adingra and players like Bakayoko from PSV, all of those players have gone to different teams. So at the moment, I don't know of any other winger that Arsenal is linked to. So if it's not Eze who's going to play as a left winger, who is that left winger been linked to? Because I still don't think this one is possible, to be honest. So is there anyone else really? I don't know. If you can go for the players on the next level, the ones like Gittens who've gone to Chelsea, like there's not too many wingers that have been linked. I mean, there's still many good players, players like Mitoma are still very good, but you're still going to need to pay 80, 90 million. So if Arsenal don't want to pay a lot of money for a wing and you're talking about 20 to 30 million, I don't know that is going to be. I mean, there's players like Minte at Brighton, but it's not going to be that cheap. Rodgers is not really an out-and-out winger. He can play there, but he's more of a central midfield as well, going to the left wing, an attacking midfielder. So it's very hard to know, unless Arsenal are cooking something that we don't know about. Like the Nørgaard one came out of nowhere. We heard that Arsenal are going to sign Cristhian Nørgaard. Let's hope we can hear that with the left wing as well, because I do think it's a bad idea to let go of Trossard without a replacement. So I'm hoping they do have someone in mind that they're going to replace Trossard with, but let's see. The desire to give Nwaneri minutes at the number 10 this season has led to some hesitation within Arsenal. Really? To add another central attacker? So, like, are we being told that they're not really, the coaching team is not really too sure about Nwaneri's? The desire to give Ethan Nwaneri minutes at the number 10 position this season has led to some hesitation. That reads out to me that, we don't really trust Nwaneri that much in the number 10 position, or is it too early for him to play consistently throughout the season? That is what it looks like. I mean, I've had Arsenal fans saying that as well. They need more experienced players and then, use Nwaneri endowment sometimes. I don't know. I still think None is going to get minutes. I don't have a problem with him backing up Saka and Odegaard, especially Odegaard in the 10 position as well, because they've said he's going to be playing the 10 position this season. But that kind of translates to, like, we don't trust Nwaneri that much to play that position. So we're looking for another central attacker. If you're looking for another central attacker, that is the guy. That is the guy. You have a very good central attacker there who can play as a 10, he can play as an 8, he can even play for you as a left winger. So having many options as well, it brings the competition. Yeah, you might say it brings the pressure, but for me, it lowers the pressure more. When Odegaard, last season when Odegaard played poorly, we literally are looking at him only to create all the chances. So if he doesn't play well, he knows he's let down the team. There's a lot of people talking about Odegaard in the media every single time, change the captain, do this, do that. There's a lot of pressure on him. So if he has someone like, an Eze to help him out, and he still has Noni to help him out, and, Madueke comes in and slots in very well, he can help both on the right side and left side in terms of creativity, and Saka is there as well. That takes a bit of pressure away, and maybe playing with a little bit of freedom, will help the players that we have, including Odegaard and even Nwaneri. Last season we were asking Nwaneri to go into the team and score goals and assist for us. He did that. He scored 9 goals and he had a lot of assists last season as well. But, that is still a kid. You're asking him to go and help us, win the Premier League title by creating his chances by himself. That is still a tough ask. So if you have another central attacker, that would be great. That is also an opportunity for Nwaneri to learn from all of these players, experienced players. That would be great. But let's see. Apparently, maybe we don't trust Nwaneri that much in the 10 position. That is still a surprise here in that. Or maybe they just don't think he's that fully ready to play every single game. You still have Odegaard there, so Nwaneri is not going to play every single game. But hey, a central attacker anyway, even if Odegaard and Nwaneri are very, very good, I still need an extra central attacker as well, because there's some games where we're going to need 2 number 10s on the pitch. Those games you always mention, Everton at home, those nil-nils, those times we struggle to score against West Ham at home. I think the last 2 seasons we haven't scored against West Ham at home. That is a problem in itself. Everton as well struggled. We scored only 1 goal against them last season in the 2 games. All those are problems. Fulham struggling. Those teams. I know Burnley is going to be the same. Sunderland is going to be the same. Leeds is probably going to be the same. They're going to come and defend. We're going to need to break down those kind of teams. But they could look to bring in a left winger instead of Leandro Trossard or Martinelli if Martinelli departs. So I don't think it's going to be Martinelli. I think it's going to be Trossard. Let's see how it goes. Lastly, I just stumbled across this. Apparently, Crystal Palace and Norwich both made contact with Arsenal for 2007 born talent Dan Casey. Well, if Crystal Palace want this Dan Casey youngster at Arsenal, we can give you him and a little bit of money for Eze if that is what you want. Arsenal have also tabled an offer to keep Casey as he's currently out of contract. Talks ongoing. Casey scored 20 goals with the under-18 last season. I didn't know that. That's a lot of goals, and he could leave if a compensation package is agreed. So that's an academy player in the under-18s, not even really in the under-21. So Crystal Palace and Norwich want this Arsenal youngster. Let's see if he's going to move on. I didn't know about the 20 goals. I've had the name, I've seen him before, but the 20 goals in the under-18 season last season, I've not really heard about that. So that's the latest transfer news today. Trossard, Aston Villa want him. As well as a few other teams in England, plus Dortmund, plus Napoli, plus Lazio. Let's see. There's not been any news on Kivio today. The last one that we had is that, he might want to go and start somewhere else. Also him, Serie A teams, one team. We've not had anything about Nelson the last couple of days. I don't know what happened to that one. Fulham are frustrated, I know. Fulham, they're struggling to sign players, so I don't know what is going to happen with Dries Nelson. We know Stuttgart are still trying to sign Fabio Vieira, so let's see what happens with that one. Until today, I've still not heard anything about Lokonga. There's no team that wants Lokonga. Such kind of transfers are so hard, man. You know, when you signed Lokonga and Tavares, we were a very different team. That was 2021. We had finished 5th on the table. We were just trying to, compete in the Europa League. We were trying to, try to finish in the top 5 most of the seasons. We knew we'd lose like 12 games in a season, but can we get at least 20 wins? That's what we were trying to achieve when you're signing players like Lokonga and Vieira and Tavares. But literally, these guys joined Arsenal. Was it 2021 or 2022? 2021. Yeah, and the very next season, we started competing for the league title. So all of a sudden, we were like, nah, we don't want Lokonga, we don't want Tavares. These players are, not good enough for what you're trying to achieve. But Lokonga's gone to Luton. I think he had a good time. He's gone to Sevilla. He was injured. And right now, there's no one really who wants Lokonga. So let's see. It might be one of those players that we end up selling for like 5 million or 6 million or something like that. Martinelli, I think, is going to stay now that Trossard is looking likely to be leaving. Is there anyone else? Karl Hein will probably leave. He was in the photo shoot yesterday, but I think Karl Hein will definitely leave. He's our 4th choice goalkeeper, and that is it. I don't think there's anyone else. Those are the rumors. Zinchenko, obviously, we are waiting to see whether he's going to leave or he's going to stay. There's been talks about him, potentially moving on this transfer window. Is like our 9th choice defender, like our 4th choice on the left side, so he's not going to get too much game time there, unfortunately for him. And that is it. I don't think there's anyone else who's going to leave Arsenal apart from those sons, if they end up leaving. Hopefully for me, we keep Kivio. And Trossard, for me, I'd like to keep him unless we are getting a very good replacement. Then you can talk the rest. The rest you obviously have to sell. The Lokongas, the Nelsons, and all the others. Let's see. But that's the latest today. Let's see what you guys are saying. You're welcome, Joseph. Thank you for watching. Do this. Sabe says as Aston Villa wants him, and then we should go for Morgan Rogers in a swap deal. That's all. I wish we could get Morgan Rogers, man. That was the number 2 on my list in terms of my dream transfers back in May. I said I wanted Gyokeres first and Morgan Rogers second. I love Rogers. He's currently injured, I think. I don't think he's going to play this weekend, but I would absolutely love Morgan Rogers at Arsenal. But yeah, there's no other team I've had going for him. I think he'll be very expensive. I think even if you give them Trossard, they still ask for 50 million on top of that. Gilbert says Morgan Rogers has gone to Newcastle. No, he hasn't. Morgan Rogers is still at Aston Villa. Jacob Ramsey has gone to Newcastle from Aston Villa, if that's the one you're talking about. Akanji says, keep the good work. I want him to create a space for Eze. Hopefully we can. Hopefully we can create the money fast for him in terms of getting. I don't know how much in terms of wages Trossard wants. Not Trossard, Eze. I don't know how much. I can just check. As a weekly salary at Crystal Palace. I don't know how much money gets paid per week there. 100,000 per week. That's a lot for Crystal Palace. So you definitely want more than that if he leaves Crystal Palace. So you're talking about like 160k or something if you're going to get Eze. Not that bad. I mean, these players were getting paid way more than that. We need Eze in the team, says Aaron. How are you doing? Okay, thank you for being here as always. Marquez says, good evening, Glenn. Is there any close deal on our target transfers players? Nope. Those ones I think is going to carry on until next week, especially now we're going to play Man United. I think over the weekend it's going to be very quiet. You're not going to hear anything. I haven't heard anything about Malik Fofana Kato at all. Lookman is still there, says Marquez. That's true. How far is the deal for Rafa Leao? I said yesterday, Arsenal not going to get Leao. Leao is going to stay at AC Milan. Arsenal have never really wanted Leao, and Fabrizio confirmed it yesterday. So Leao to Arsenal, that one is not happening 100%. Let's see. Benjamin says, who then do we have likely option for this left winger? We haven't had anything, so I think it has to be like a surprise player because we were told about Rodrygo on loan. Maybe it's still a possibility, but that's the only player I really know about. There's no one else that you've been named that is actually going to happen. They don't think Gordon is going to happen. Leao is not going to happen. Lookman is still available, as Marquez says, so maybe you could go in for someone like a Lookman if we do want him, but that is the only options I know, unless we go for someone else, out of nowhere. We need a new left winger. Gabi no, says Joseph. I do prefer Rafael Leao. Good player, but he's not going to leave AC Milan. What if Ethan is going to be given the number 10 shirt, which means we are not going to get as a no. They're not talking about the number 10 shirt. They're talking about the number 10 position. Let me just confirm that. Hopefully, I'm not telling you. Hopefully, I'm not the one who already thrown the desire to give it a name means a 10. Yeah, they're talking about the number 10 position, not the number 10 shirt. So yeah, we're not like that confident about Noni playing in the 10 position. So you want to sign someone else. We've gone through the Eze one. Sharif and Michael. Good evening to you, Balagan. I hope you can still expect new signings before the season starts. From all the reports, there's no one really who has said you're not going to sign anyone. Most of them, including Fabrizio and David Johnson, have said we're definitely going to sign someone, but who? I don't know who it's going to be. There's like, remember January when you didn't sign anyone? David Austin told us, like, with 2 weeks remaining, I don't think Arsenal going to sign anyone, and we didn't sign anyone. So for this time, we've heard that we're still going to go for someone, that Ateta wants like 2 new attackers. We know that Trossard is going to leave, so there's a chance he's going to be replaced by someone there. We are hearing about Eze. We are hearing about, Arsenal trying to sell players so that we can buy. So it's looking like we are going to sign someone, but who? I don't know. Hopefully it's someone like an Eze or Lookman. If there's someone else, hopefully still a good player. Would you take Sancho? I'm just seeing Sancho here. Roma wants Sancho. Interesting. Good evening. When the window, when there's a window closing, September 1st. So that is 17 more days. So almost 2 weeks remaining. 2 weeks and a few days remaining. So that's the latest today. I don't want to keep you guys here for too long because that's the only news for today. Hopefully we have more to talk about tomorrow. As of now, I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch up with you on the next one.